So, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'm honored. And I'd like to thank the distinguished speakers, panelists, participants, and co-hosts. Thank you for choosing to take time out of your day to join us. Today, we have a good line of panelists who are made and making in the vertical of the mining industry that they're in. They're also some of the most forward-thinking persons with vast experience in the mining extractive sector. So before I introduce myself and my co-host, let me give a brief overview of how this 2-hour-long webinar will run. First, we'll listen to remarks and goodwill messages from our supporters and partners, then the keynote address. After the panelists share their thoughts about the mining industry along the vertical that they're focused in, or rather focused on, we will move to question and answer sessions. And for your question and answers, if you have questions while listening to the panelists, I would like to ask that you please write them in the question and answer section of the Zoom app, and we'll ask them and the panelists will respond to them. After that, the panelists will provide their final thoughts, then the closing remarks. So, my name is Oluwatosin Alagbe. I am the program director at the Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism, and PTCIJ, that's Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism for short, is a media innovation and development organization. It has implemented a series of governance and accountability projects ranging from groundbreaking investigations in corruption, human rights abuses, and extractives to fact-checking policies, election monitoring and campaign fact-checking, press freedom advocacy, and capacity building for journalists and newsroom. You might wonder why we're doing this. So we run a natural resource program with the aim to strengthen the capacity of the media and civil society to demand transparency and accountability in the extractive sector, and to also set agenda for alternative revenue streams for the government other than oil, because at a point in time, the extractive sector was contributing a lot to the GDP of the economy. My co-host is Fatima Meikori, and Fatima is a senior geologist at the Investment Promotions, and I'm honored to have her co-host with me. And she's doing this if for any reason the network or technology is a challenge, she's more than capable to take over for me. So, to the agenda, I'd like to invite Honorable, before I forget, I also like to introduce another co-host, Anatu, who is a senior geologist too. And she and Fatima will be holding in fort in case anything happens. To the agenda now, I'd like to introduce and welcome Honorable Janet Adeyemi, who is the President Women in Mining in Nigeria, for the opening remarks. She's a seasoned and astute public servant. She's known for actively supporting legislative, political, public affairs, and humanitarian advocacy. She has a Bachelor of Science in Geology from the Obafemi Awolowo University and a Master of Science degree in Water and Wastewater Engineering from the Loughborough University of Technology, Leicestershire. And to enhance her knowledge in politics, she proceeded to acquire a diploma in legislative drafting in 2001 at the Tulane University in New Orleans, USA. And in 2002, she was awarded a honorary doctorate degree in political studies by Columbus International University, UK. So over to you, Honorable Adeyemi, for your opening remarks.
Once again, you are all welcome to this occasion, and we appreciate everybody present. Permit me to welcome the Honorable Minister. I don't know, maybe he has joined, but I know he was on official assignment. Honorable Architect Olamilekan Adegbite, who has since displayed his gender commitment since he came into the ministry, and we are excited to have him as the minister with his counterpart, President of Miners Association, who, if not hooked now, I'm sure will be hooked in the council of the finance, Alhaji Kabir Mohammed Kankara, who again has shown interest to be a friend of the sector, a friend of women, because of the peculiarity of this sector. You know, this sector was seen as an all-exclusive male club before, but gradually women are breaking the ceilings, and I'm happy to see some of the women actually breaking the ceilings here. We want to welcome Claire Island, as the Australian High Commissioner. The Australian government must be commended sincerely for their commitments to gender development, especially in Nigeria. Outside of some other spheres, we have seen quite a number of women in the sector whose capacities have been built. And not only in the mining sector, they do that all over the country. We appreciate them. We want to appreciate, and that's President of African Women in Mining. Smallish in look, but deep. That's Mrs. Georgette Barnes. She is, as you all know, Ghana has been in mining for some time, and she's one of those women who saw the vision and started what our chair in African Women in Mining. That's the Executive Secretary of Solid Minerals Development Fund. Is an unusual body, and that's the first woman that will occupy any meaningful position, any agency in the system. And I'm sure with Sister Olayinka Mubarak, they know what they must be facing there as women, but we are happy they are up to it. That's Ajia Shinkafi. Welcome, Mrs. Olayinka Mubarak. That's the group head, Solid Minerals and Metals and Large Enterprise Directorate of the Bank of Industry. An industry who is committed to the radical development of industries across the country. And all you have to do is watch their program and see what they do in Nigeria. You'll be very proud of them. Health sector, every sector. BOI is transforming the industrial space in Nigeria. We welcome Mrs. Bosse, even though I've not met you physically, but I was so happy, you know, she used the virtual media to launch the Dukia Gold. And we all know that Nigeria now, I think the next direction to look at is no longer dollar, is to now make sure we warehouse our gold. So we're happy to have you here. We have our able Josephine Emoton Shine, that's the CEO of Ventures, who is into beautiful things women love. In the last mining week, I was dreaming, because I love jewelry, of taking those things away. We are very proud of you. And then we welcome our able moderator, that's Oluwatosin Alagbe. You know, to this noble project, because I want to call it be a note of, we have so much, you know, to do in looking at technology to drive the industry post COVID-19. You and I know that even when COVID goes, everything, and I take you back to the scriptures this morning. In every situation, just look at the good thing. For me, I want to tell people that COVID has not more good than bad. Unfortunately, quite a number of lives were lost. But at the end of it, when we look back, I'm sure we'll say, thank God, this thing forced us to start using innovation. Most of us mothers who thought we are past that generation, we see ourselves learning new skills. Today, we are not physically together, but we are all connected. We are all seen from different parts of the world. I'm sure our sisters in Zambia, our sisters in Namibia, Zenzi, all of them are coming on board. They are watching in Nigeria, in Europe. Everybody is there connected. So we thank God for this opportunity. And I'm sure that today we have more than capable hands who will tell us the relevance of technology, which one of it is what we are using. One of it is what one of our members use. to drive in the launching of our gold project. And we launched even the department, that's the gold purchase scheme. You are using your true virtual means, and today they are standing. Agreements are being drawn, you understand, through virtual means. So we have to look at it. A virtual market was launched. You know, we no longer have to go up and down, carrying wares all over, running overheads on transportation, on so many things. So I believe that today the speakers here are more than capable, and I employ all of us to be very attentive, to listen to what we have to say, and I want to say thank you. And to commend Fatima McCory, you understand, because I called and I said we have to start something, and I'm happy that you came up with this wonderful topic. And with the chairman of the president, the robust relationship between women in mining, which the linkage, you understand, is Australian High Commission, which has permitted all this. We want to say thank you. Once again, I wish you a very happy session, and I hope that at the end of the day, it will better our performance in the sector. We have a lot to take away from experience. And good morning, or good afternoon again, once again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
very
hope you
much.
heard me. I hope you heard me.
Yes, I heard you. Thank you, Ma. Next is the Honorable Minister's goodwill message. Unfortunately, he's unable to join us, but he sent in a recording, which I will share. And permit me to just hold on, or that please just hold on while I share the screen and you listen to the Honorable Minister.
There's no sound.
No sound?
No.
I'm so sorry. How do I do that now? Let's try that again.
Still no sound.
So I think there's still no sound. What I'll do is permit me to play. Try and sort this out. This is a technology challenge, and we'll play this maybe at the end of the session. So next on my list to present a goodwill message is Simon Uncom. He's the Director General, Mining Cadastral.
Play from your end while we just listen.
Come again, Ma.
No, I wasn't making a comment. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Simon Uncom, your goodwill message.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Like already indicated, my name's Engineer Simon Obadiah Nkom. I can see that it's blessed to be among the women. And I will be speaking on my goodwill message will come in two folds. First of all, as the Director General of the Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office, and secondly, encompassing as the President of our famous society, the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society. As the President and the Director General, I think anything I say is coming from that perspective. So, bearing all the protocol already established, it gives me great pleasure to be here with you today to address this august and audience of, I wish to say, wonderful women, great women, who I consider important and key development partners for the progress of our mining sector in Nigeria, and to be part of this great discussion on driving innovation to manage the mining sector in the post-COVID-19 era. Women play important roles in Nigeria's mining industry, which includes their indispensability across the mining value chain, from skilled women living in the mining communities to female artisanal miners tasked with the tedious duty of sorting out ores and gems, to female civil servants and women leaders in making waves in the sector. In view of that, it is for these reasons that we welcome today's event and support the emergence of women's innovation in the country, mining industry, wholeheartedly. Although the magnitude of the global crisis triggered by COVID-19 is unparalleled in the modern history, and it has eclipsed all global financial shocks since the Great Depression, including the 2008 global financial crisis. And while it is devastating in this effect, the historic proportions of COVID-19 also brings the opportunity to assess how we should rebuild our society differently to emerge better after the crisis. Which economic policies should we put in place to create truly inclusive society and a global economy that works for all? The crisis sparked and deepened by COVID-19 have highlighted the relevance of the role of the government in planning and rebuilding for sustainability and recovery. In addition to this, its direct impact on the economy and everyday life, the pandemic has heightened the plight of often overlooked communities. It is crucial at this point that we do not let these issues fall by the wayside. Once the worst impact of the virus have subsided, we must be able to put hands together to be able to move forward. Please permit me to actually go further by saying that the rising above challenges of the past, the current mandate at the ministry is to scale up the capacities of the Nigerian mining sector by transforming it into a strategic catalyst for domestic growth in terms of creation of jobs and increase in revenue, while achieving a high-level global relevance. As many of you know, the ministry is the Nigerian government's eye on the mineral regulations, licenses, and promotion of a safer extractive environment Equally important, it enables a crucial economic function in managing the sector that is a revenue earner through the mineral and steel gateways. As it has become evident in an age of dwindling oil revenues and expanding development priorities, the ministry occupies a very strategic role in helping achieve the government's mission with regard to development and fulfillment of budget priorities. I am honored, I'm humbled, and I'm privileged to be part of this Women in Mining webinar. And there is no better time for engaging with this critical sector than now. As such, much thanks goes to the Australian High Commission, my sister, Claire Island. I can see so many people, I wish I could mention their names, for being part of this very, very important thing. But most importantly, the Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism, alongside the Alumina, Women in Mining, for their leadership on this matter. I wish this meeting thoughtful deliberations and fruitful outcomes. And please let me remind you that the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences as a professional body wishes you well. The Nigerian Mining Cadastre wishes you well. And blessed are these organizations among women. I can see all of you smiling. Thank you and have a fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We're grateful for your support. I mean, thankful that we can always come to you whenever we have challenges and wherever we need help. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So what I'll try to do again is to play the Honorable Minister's goodwill message. Fingers crossed it works this time. Yes. So let's do this.
Life, but I had to be somewhere else for work. Women play a... Good afternoon, ladies in mining. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. I would have loved to be with you live, but I had to be somewhere else for work. Women play a vital role in mining in Nigeria. And this webinar should be able to take us further along that route. I acknowledge and salute our women, those in the public service, in banking, and of course, those that are in the field as artisanal or small-scale miners. I wish you a fruitful deliberation that will take us along that path where women can rightfully assume their position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you in absentia. So unfortunately, the permanent secretary is unable to be here at the moment for his goodwill message, but if he pops in before the end, we'll let him do that. Now to present the keynote address is Mrs. Claire Ireland. She's been introduced by Honorable Janet Adeyemi, but I'd like to just read a bit about her. She is a career officer with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and was most recently Counselor, Economic and Development Corporation, Australian Embassy, Hanoi. She holds a Master of Science in Imperial College London and a Bachelor of Science from University of Salford. Thank you, Ms. Ireland. Over to you.
Great, thank you very much. I'm having trouble with my internet today, so I'm going to leave the video off. I hope that's okay, everyone. I'm hoping that will make it easier for hearing me. But thank you very much for that very generous welcome. And I just wanted to also acknowledge the representation day of such a great group of people. Obviously, the Honourable Minister wasn't able to be there in person, but to see him give that goodwill message, I think is a real indication of the support he has to the sector. Engineer Simon Com, I didn't realise you were going to be here, so it's wonderful to have seen you here today as well. Obviously, the Honourable President of Women in Mining Nigeria, Janet Adeyemi, thank you so much for your leadership in this sector to date. I think having you here is just a paramount example of just the kind of importance placed on the sector. The President of the Women in Mining Ghana, Georgette Barnes, it's great to see you today here as well. And obviously the President of the Australia Alumni Awards Association, Abdullah Mercy Iliomitsky. Fantastic to be here. Thank you so much. And what I wanted to start off by acknowledging was that the collective effort in bringing together today's discussion, it is the culmination of a lot of hard work of many people from a range of organizations. Coming together in this collaborative forum today, to me, demonstrates the collective goodwill that there is here in Nigeria to see the mining sector succeed. That gives me hope, but it also gives me the motivation to keep ensuring Australia shares the skills and knowledge that we have learned from over 100 years now of mining in Australia. So my thanks goes to the following organisations: the Women in Mining here in Nigeria, the Australia Awards Alumni Association, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, Premium Time Centre for Investigative Journalism, but also the Women in Mining Africa. Seeing you here represented today by Georgette is fantastic. So it's an honour for me to give this keynote speech today and to be amongst the company of so many inspiring women. And this is the topic where I really wanted to focus my keynote speech today, and that's women in mining. I'm conscious the speakers here today will be sharing their knowledge about how to drive innovation in the mining sector. So what I first want to do is outline with you why it is so important to have women in the mining sector in the first instance. I will argue that this is an important prerequisite to be able to obtain innovation in the mining sector, which is what we're all looking for and why we're gathered here today. Gender diversity is important in any industry, but I believe even more so in the mining sector, and something Australia has learned from our own experience, and I will outline to you in today's keynote speech. Why is it important? Well, it ensures that issues are considered from a range of angles, allowing the best solutions to be found. This is critical for the mining sector, where there is a lot of pressure to succeed right now, and this gives us the best chance. I have the privilege of being Australia's first female High Commissioner to Nigeria, and I believe this provides an opportunity to view our relationship with Nigeria from a different perspective and explore different aspects of our bilateral engagement. The same is true in the mining sector. Having women in leadership roles in mining is critical. It brings a refresh of perspectives, the continuous search for different approaches and ideas, and it is essential to innovation and the continuous improvement of any organisation or sector. Australia is known for the success of its extractive companies. In Nigeria and across Africa, Australia is heavily involved in the mining sector, helping to build technical capacity and providing investment in new projects. This is an industry that provides strong tax revenue for governments, supplies a country with the materials to power the economy, and most importantly, creates jobs. However, across the world, mining is very much a male-dominated industry. This is a deep-seated issue. Society does not encourage girls to pursue education in sciences. From a young age, through persistent stereotypes that linger both overtly and more subtly, girls are conditioned to aspire to careers in expressive or human-centered fields, while boys are pushed towards technical fields. These stereotypes are changing though, but all over the world, including in both Nigeria and Australia, there is still a significant gender gap among students in science, technology, engineering, and maths degrees. This is a problem, not just for equality, but also for business productivity and innovation. Australian companies understand this. They pay attention to the research that shows the substantial productivity gains and improvements in workplace culture and safety achieved through having a gender-balanced and diverse workforce. Australian giant BHP, the world's largest mining company by market capitalisation, has committed to an ambitious goal of achieving gender balance across its operations by 2025. BHP set this target in 2016, when just 17.6% of its workforce were women. As of last year, nearly 25% of BHP employees were female. Other major Australian mining companies such as Rio Tinto, Fortescue Metals Group and Newcrest Mining also have programs to increase the proportion of women in their workforces. The mining sector in Nigeria, in its early stage of development, though the potential is significant, There is a recognition that mining can help to drive the diversification of the Nigerian economy, create new jobs and improve infrastructure. This is an incredibly opportune time for the mining sector right now. The economy has been severely hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, which we'll just discuss today. In the Vice President's Economic Sustainability Plan, it notes that the National Bureau of Statistics has estimated the economy could contract anywhere between -4.4% to -8.91%, which is staggering figures. The mining sector has an opportunity to fill this gap. In the first month of the lockdown in Australia, we had a trade surplus of Australian dollars 10.6 billion. And this was absolutely and fundamentally due to our export of our mining sector. So exporting of our iron ore to China and the tripling of our gold exports. While the sustained impact of COVID-19 will undoubtedly hit us, the buffering from our mining sector has gone a long way to ease the economic challenges we're facing with COVID-19. And this is something I really hope that Nigeria is able to learn from and position itself for future kind of crises. Nigeria has an opportunity to learn lessons from other countries and ensure its mining industry is developed in an economically, environmentally, and socially sustainable manner. These are areas Australia has much it can share. Inclusive economic development is essential and makes good business sense. This means that right now, whilst the industry is still young, Nigeria should strive for equal gender representation in its mining sector. It's good for business, it's good for innovation. While Australian companies are now working hard to achieve this, well over 100 years after the development of our industry, Nigeria has the chance to seek gender balance right from the beginning. This starts with education. It starts with encouraging young girls to pursue study and careers in science, and it starts by promoting female role models, as the Minister in his webinar are doing. People are inspired to take a less traveled path when they can see people who look like them at the far end. And what we will hear today on innovation from the many successful women already active in the mining sector here in Nigeria will, I hope, reinforce why gender diversity is so important in this sector. The COVID-19 pandemic has thrown up many challenges for all of us, but I hope too we will be able to see the opportunities for fast-tracking some of the change that has been so desperately needed to get us on the right path for a sustainable, innovative and inclusive mining sector here in Nigeria. So I wish everyone well today, and I'm looking forward to hearing from the panelists and what they have to share around innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. It's an honor to have you here. And we can't wait to learn from the Australian, from Australia and other countries, learn from what they're doing to make our sector fun. So now we move to our panel. And in no particular order, I would like to, our panelists will be speaking about 5 minutes, about just share their thoughts on how to drive innovation in the mining sector post-COVID. And I'll start with Ms. Fatima Shinkafi. She's the Executive Secretary and Head of Secretariat of the Solid Minerals Development Fund. She was the Commissioner for Commerce, Trade, Industry and Cooperative in Zamfara State, and the focal person for the federal government social investment programs in the state. She has extensive knowledge of the mining sector and currently spearheads the re-engineering and restructuring of artisanal miners and cooperatives under the mineral buying centers built by the federal government. She attended Queen Mary and Westfield College, the University of London, and the King's College, University of London. She's currently rounding off her Masters of Arts degree at the Fletcher School of Law and International Affairs, USA. Ms. Shinkafi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Tosin.
Thank you.
I hope you can hear me. Hello, everyone. Yes. Ambassador, our President, it's a pleasure to be here. I think I'll speak first. I thought I'd have the pleasure of picking on someone else. It's an honor to be here. Innovations. I have 5 minutes. That's a tall order. I can talk for 5 days, but 5 minutes it's much more difficult to summarize things and make sense. So basically, I think we have the advantage as women of having emotional intelligence. I don't think we need to look too far to innovation as women in mining. We multitask and we're blessed with an innate nature for do. And I think the first point of reference would be to technology, to educate women. In my experience, let me speak from a point of experience in Zamfara State, for example, where we had the lead poisoning incidents. A lot of women are involved in processing, and exposure to mercury correlates with an increase in malformations and miscarriages and pregnancy and all sorts of, it affects women in various ways medically. And health innovations, healthcare that will support these women on the field in Africa, which is my immediate area of experience, and Zamfara State in particular with the lead poisoning that happened. Healthcare innovations are very key to the mining sector for women. Women need support in terms of technology and incentives for healthcare and education in their language, technology that will protect them on the field, and to have them participate where there's least risk. At the processing of these minerals, the gang, that's where most women are involved. You hardly see women going underground in the mining sites. But at the processing point, give them better technology where they won't be handling material that exposes them to risks, where they won't be handling cyanide and mercury and things like that. And it doesn't have to be complicated equipment. Training them using these better methods and technology, and backing them with incentives for healthcare support. Literacy, financial literacy, financial inclusion. We now have mobile banking technology all over, and smart technology for banking. They don't have to carry cash or be exposed. And they should have a sort of wait for redress if they have complaints, either traditionally or in the formal institutions. There should be somewhere where they can go to be heard if they have complaints within the sector. So technology and education, sensitizing the women, that's where I would come from an innovative perspective, and giving them access to funding, which is what we're doing in what we just did last week, Thursday. We presented the first locally sourced bullion bar to the Central Bank of Nigeria with Mr. President. That's the first time we ever sourced gold locally in Nigeria. And we plan to have women, mostly 70% at the processing centers. We've done biometrics. This is technology again, for all the 11,000 miners in the first stage that we're piloting. And 30% of those who came were of the workforce that we're going to be with are women. Sometimes people think women aren't even on the map, but at least there's a significant figure now and it's measurable. So technology, I can't emphasize that enough, and a positive participation, like making sure that you include these women at the points where they can participate easily. And I think personally that's at the processing and factories where we can sensitize them. I think, is my five minutes? I hope my 5 minutes is up. Otherwise,
it's not done.
That's my perspective. So I can hammer on education in various ways.
Actually, you might need to help me. I think
people without a living. So that's at the mining level. Then at the management level, I think to have more in position that are taking decisions like me. I'm just lucky. I think in the whole ministry, I'm the only head of an agency. And I'm not saying that women should be put in position just by virtue of their gender. We have a lot of qualified women that qualify to be in position and will do very well. And we want to mentor those women. And we're putting together that sort of mentorship program now that take over from us and institutionalize what we've done. So it's at various levels, at the mining level, at the management decision-making level as well, and most important, at the financial level. Financial institutions should give recognition to women that need financing for their projects. And there are a lot of them that are entrepreneurs and not mining on the field. So we want to give access to finance as the fund to women that have those skills. And there are many of them. Some of them are into gemstones and other businesses on the value chain for mining. At the moment, there's very poor and limited access to finance. We can do a deliberate program where we give support to women in mining and give them technical support as well as financial, so that they succeed and build corporations that will employ Nigerians and others to create wealth. I think that's it. That wraps it up for most.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for putting me first. Thank you for putting me first.
We needed to hear from you. You are the latest star. Pardon me was fantastic. So we needed to hear from you first.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what I got from you was that, so for you, we want healthcare innovation. You want
yes.
Women to have technology targeted towards them, say in their language, so they're able to understand it and they're able to drive it and work with it since it's in their local language. I also heard you talk about mobile banking, providing access to finance for women and also educating them. These are very important and very salient points, and I'm sure that the ministry and the entire sector is taking this into consideration. Thank you very much, ma'am. There'll be questions later on, so please don't go away. Thank you.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you. So next is Ms. Olayinka Mubarak. She's the group head, Solid Minerals, with the Bank of Industry, where she's charged with the responsibility of funding projects in Nigeria's solid mineral sector. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in microbiology from the University of Sokoto, a Master of Science degree in corporate governance from Leeds Metropolitan University in the United Kingdom, and an MBA from the prestigious Lagos Business School. She is a seasoned banker with over 20 years experience and has attended various conferences, seminars, and workshops in banking, finance, and solid minerals. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tosin. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You can, okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah,
5
thank
minutes.
you very much. Sorry?
Said 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, quick one. Yeah, I mean, everybody, we all know what the pandemic has done to everyone all over the world. And if we cannot continue to do business as usual, the way we're doing it pre-COVID can't be the same thing we'll do post-COVID or currently as where we are. Right now, what I would expect our female miners to be doing right now is more of a stock taking. Pre the COVID, where were we right now? Where are we? And going forward, where are we going to be? It's a two-side coin. You can look at it from opportunity side. You can look at it from the downside that, oh, this has not happened and this thing is bad. But this brings with it opportunities. For me, my advice to my fellow women in the industry would be like, can we look at merger and acquisition? You know, I mean, gone are those days where we work in silos. One person you want to own the crusher, you want to own the mill, you want to do everything. No, we all, you know, when we're together, when 2 or 3 miners come together, is better than when you have one person mining in a space. So when we come together, whatever is your skill set, whatever is your competence, you bring it to fore. And doing that, that even gives the financial industry to be able to access support from the banking side. Reason being that by the time I see an aggregate of 2 or 3 or 4 women together, that gives me comfort, because whatever risk that the banks are scared of taking, that's a shared risk. Okay, and by the time you have that shared risk, you reduce whatever impact you're gonna have. So that's the issue of like a merger and acquisition. And then, like IGR Fati rightly said before me, yes, the issue of health and safety is very, very key. You know what this has done, the pandemic has done. And going forward, we need to change the way we mine. We need to have at the back of our mind that health and safety is very, very is key. Responsible mining is key. We need to take care of our environment. While I was listening to Fati, somebody was talking about climate change. Yes, climate change is real. So when we're starting, we should have that at the back of our mind. How am I going to close this mine? How am I going to reclaim? How am I going to do everything that has to do that? The way I made this place, I have to leave it better than what was there by planting trees and what have you. And also, and our women, and when they say women are marginalized, sometimes I say, no, we're not coming from a disadvantaged position. We're coming from an advantaged position because we are women. We're stronger. We're stronger together, because why I'm saying that is, even from my own portfolio where I work in the bank, about 45% of the people I have on my portfolio are women. So I say, okay, if these women are doing this, what happens to the other on the streets? Why are they saying women are marginalized? They are not marginalized. We just need to come together and form a very strong collaboration. We should not work in silos. When each one hold one, when I hold the next person after you hold the next person, before you know it, we form a ring, we form a circle, and we become stronger together. Nobody knows it all. And it will be easy to access financial support, like I said ab initio. And also, the issue right now is everybody's talking about data analytics. The issue of data. Fati said something when she was talking, she said 40% of women, how do they come about it? That means somebody is keeping traction. Gone are those days that we do things as if the way we know. We have to change, because when you have big data, you are able to develop people's behavior. You are able to know what you are bringing to the table. If I do this, what will happen? And planning becomes very easy for you as a woman when you have your data. Post COVID-19, there's a lot of data analytics that is going to take place. We just need to sit down and ask yourself, do like a reevaluation. How was I doing my thing? After this, how am I going to do it? Going forward, it cannot be the same. You need to do a lot of cash flow forecasting. You need to look at your sources of funds and how do you use your funds. So in doing that, you'll be able to look at your process flow. Maybe if there are leakages or wastages, those are things we need to look about, and you need to plug them. And then stakeholders engagement. We need to engage more in this pandemic time, and even post-pandemic, we need to engage more with our equipment supplier, with our raw material supplier, even with our staffs and the stakeholders. There has to be a lot of engagement. And it has to be a continuous one. Nobody knows it all. When you keep quiet, you die in silence. But when you speak up, you'll be shocked at how people will come to your rescue and say, oh, I remember when I had something like this, this is how I went about it. Even if I don't know, okay, let me ask my friend in another client, how did they come about it? Because we're all starting from a level playing ground. Nobody knows it all, so it's more like a trial and error. But it will be very, very sad if women are just sitting by the side and watching. No, we shouldn't sit by side. We shouldn't be a bystander or by watcher. No, we should be, this is the time for us. And I'm happy that this is coming right now from the women in mining that, okay, fine. what is the way forward. We need to put our women and give them a sense of direction that this is the way to go about it. We just have to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying to come about it. And also, we post-COVID, we can put our template within respond, recover, and thrive, i.e., do I have my short-term plan, which will be like maybe 3 to 6 months? Do you have your mid-term plan, 6 months to 1 year? You need to look at your process flow and try and put them in timeline. And while doing this, you should have at the back of your mind your mission and vision statement. Why am I doing this? Why am I in this business? At every point in time, when you feel stuck, you should always ask yourself, why am I in that business? When you ask yourself that question, then that gives you a spotlight. It gives you a clearer view. You'll be able to tackle the whatever problem you are encountering in your business. Is it easy? No. But is it doable? Yes. And since I'm coming from the financial side, and where aside in Bank of Industry, aside supporting customers with credit facility, we do a lot of advocacy. So sometimes when you are stuck, it's good to reach out. Like I said, we're there to support. It's only when you ask that you get the necessary support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. We're thankful for the Bank of Industry support. And takeaway from your brief remarks is that collaboration is key. Collaboration is key. And health and safety also key. And that female miners, well, not only female miners, miners in general should think about the environment before, carry out environmental analysis before the impact environmental analysis before setting out to mine. Another takeaway was that there's data, there's huge data, we're gathering data in this space. And so analysis needs to be done. We cannot make informed decisions without an analysis of the data. Another thing is that women should always ask questions. Your challenges are most likely not peculiar to only you. You should ask questions if you face any challenge, and someone is probably able to help you solve that. Last one was have a mission and vision. This is very, very important because this drives you. If there's any challenge or if you ever feel like giving up, having a mission and vision that you go back to spurs you to run again. Again, thank you very much, Ms. Mubarak. So next now, I would like to call on Ms. Georgette B. Sake Adjo. She's the current president of the Association of Women in Mining in Africa. She was selected as a Global Inspirational Woman in Mining by WIM UK in 2016. She is a mining entrepreneur who has established her own locally owned mining and exploration supplies company, Georgette Barnes Limited. She has completed a postgraduate certificate in mining law and policy and principles of mining and engineering and surface mining operations at UMET. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, Georgia.
Yes. I guess I have 5 minutes also, so I'll go straight to the point. Some of the issues I have already been discussed, but I mean, I think that it emphasizes that these are things that we need to look at, because for me, my first point was on continuous protection and monitoring of workers' health and responsible and teaching of responsible mining. That was one of my top points, and both speakers have highlighted that. And the other thing that is currently going on that we are all aware of is automation. All over the world, mining houses are now automating, and we have the most modern mine now in Mali called the Siama mine, which, you know, is being managed all the way from Australia, you know. So automation, we need to get to that point. The future workforce is here, and so we need to find ways, and like Hajia Fatima said, we need to get technology to our women in a language that they can understand, because the world has moved far ahead, and so automation is key. I believe that Nigeria has the singular strength of starting, because in some of our countries, you know, we didn't have the hindsight, and as Ghana took some lessons from Nigeria oil and gas, now Nigeria can start things on a, you know, on a much better space. So automation is key. Remote operations is key. Geo and data analytics is key. Both previous speakers have spoken about that. What I would like to add to that is collaboration between academia and the industry. And so in terms of the small scale mining, we should find a way of letting them work hand in hand with academic, the technical universities and polytechnics. And also vertical integration. What COVID has taught us, all over Africa, we have seen that miners are not able to sell because we've always sold our products to outside buyers. So I'm speaking like about gemstones in East Africa, in Southern Africa, and we are left, especially in some of these countries, the gemstones was linked to tourism. And so now that there are no flights coming in, women are having their products in their hand and nothing, no one to sell to. Two lessons that come from that is, one, let's see what we can do about the AFTA agreement. How do we create markets on the African continent? How do we increase inter-African trade? How do we create online markets? Value addition, beneficiation. I was happy to hear about processing, a lot of processing being done of the ore being done in Nigeria. We need to do more of that. We need to let the women introduce more of our women to that aspect of the value chain, where it is not just the carrying of the ore, but once we get the ore, what is happening? Everybody on this panel I see is wearing jewelry. Where did we buy the jewelry from? Let's create the market, and let's create the market on this continent so that we raise the bar on our jewelry production, so that all our princesses and our millionaires on this continent, yes, exactly, on this continent, we are buying everything locally. It is an opportunity for us, and it is one of the things, one of the biggest problems that has come up, the lack of access to markets, people being stuck with products and no buyer. Nigeria has done the singular, I saw when Engineer Janet shared on the WIMA platform, you know, the gold bar and the government buying the gold from gold miners for the central bank. I mean, that is great. That is the greatest innovation that you can. A ready market, I think it happens in Ethiopia as well, a ready market for small scale miners. And how do we as women leaders come in? We come in as advocating that the women's products are given a first choice. And so we need to think, we need to think about that, and that's where policy interventions come in. So government has a real role to play. Women leaders and women groups can be partners, but they have no money, they have volunteers, they have no staff, and they are using their own money, and it's bread and butter issues. And so we cannot, the women groups cannot do so much. And so we need government to partner, we need private institutions like the Bank of Industry said that we should approach her. We need to collaborate more. Partnerships are key in this age. And so innovation needs partnerships, need collaboration, growing of our markets. And also, I wanted also to speak about government's role in health. How can we find health insurance for our women miners so that they know so that when these things happen, they know that, you know, they all have a health insurance card, and we take that worry off their heads. Hygiene packs, government providing hygiene packs, food packs, financial literacy, using all the mobile money and tools that have been mentioned. All of these are key. Financial inclusion is key for women to be able to raise the bar in the industry. I think that I'm at 5 minutes over. Yes, but these are the issues that we have. On the formal side of mining, we have experienced a lot of redundancy. We have experienced redundancy, we have experienced reduced working hours, production decline, operational shutdowns, volatile commodities. And when you look at a lot of the commodities, one of the interesting thing is, I think the ones that have done well during this COVID have been gold and platinum. And so I feel like Nigeria is just in the right place, and with the right tools, our women can survive a lot of pandemics, because gold somehow is always responsively in these situations. And another thing that we need to do is mapping of our supply chain, gender mapping of our industries. Some countries have had funding and they've been able to do it. What are the women doing? Now we know that the workforce is about 30%. The 30%, how many of them are washing ore? How many of them are carrying ore? How many of them are processing? How many of them are entrepreneurs? How do we map all of them, their challenges, and find solutions that can help them? We need to have all these answers so that we can have the right investors to support the women and raise the bar. I think the question of whether women are in the sector or whether women can be in the sector, we have exhausted it and we are here to stay. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Women are in industry and we are here to stay. I totally agree with you. So my takeaway is one, like Ms. Shinkafa and Ms. Mubarak, Shinkafi rather, sorry, and Ms. Mubarak, health is very key. 2, automation of mining operations. 3, remote operations. 4, there should be collaboration between academia and the industry. 5, there's a need to create markets in the African continent. There are a lot of people, resources to buy the gems, the metals that are produced in Africa. We just need to create the market for them so that they know where to find it. We should also be involved in online sales. There's also a need for advocacy for female miners. The government should also have in place health insurance for female miners so that they know that they don't need to worry about health if there are any challenges. They don't need to worry about the cost, rather, if there are any challenges. Financial inclusion is also important too. And finally, supply chain. There's a need to map the supply chain of the mining industry, in particular, map it in a gender specific format, for lack of better terms. Thank you, Ms. Georgette, and we're grateful to have you here. We have loads to learn from your country, and as well, the country of Ghana has loads to learn from Nigeria too. So next, I'd like to invite Ms. Bosse Awolabi to also speak. Ms. Bosse Awolabi has cognate experience in metals trading and in providing logistics support solutions across West and Central Africa. She has deep experience in management consulting, financial advisory services, corporate finance, and financial modeling in natural resource financing, logistics, and transport. Over the years, she has created a niche for herself in natural resource finance and trade. Today, Ms. Awolabi is the Managing Director of Dukia Gold and Precious Metals Refinery Limited, where she is responsible for the implementation of the strategic plans of its board of directors. She leads Nigeria's first full-fledged gold and other precious metals, bullion bars, and coins manufacturing, maintenance, and trading company. Thank you, Ms. Awolabi. Over to you.
Thank you, Tosin, and other panelists, and able women that are in the house, and the men, the supportive men also. So COVID came, and then we all started to react to it. But the reality is COVID may be here to stay. We don't know. So we all need to find a way of coping. And most importantly, I believe that COVID actually came as an eye-opener also, because there's some, when we talk about innovation, it shouldn't be just because COVID came, then we should have those innovations in place. And so for us, it affected the mining industry, affected us a lot, but we have been structured. Part of the main thing we've tried to do as Dukia Gold is to bring automation into the industry, into the value chain of the precious metals industry. Sorry. Sorry, I just need to take. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry.
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry. Okay, Fatima also wanted to know if I was audible. Yeah, okay. So we've had to put through, think through and come up with a lot of innovation in the various aspects of our businesses. And because we are a refinery, so there's that, we're just starting, there's the procurement bit for us. And there's also the part of sourcing and reaching the various stakeholders, including the customers that we are trying to onboard onto our platform. And training also has been a key factor for us, because these are things that presently do not exist in Nigeria. We've had to rely on foreign partners to hold their hands through all this. And so when COVID came, it was the planned visits from them to us, and a series of things, production that we were anticipating. We had a lot of disruptions to this. But as I said, we've looked at it. Our procurement, we've continued with it online, payments online. At best, we hold meetings which are online also. So we've made use of these platforms to move forward. We knew we couldn't stop. We had made promises to the industry. We had made promises to our bankers because we are taking funds also. So we knew we could not stop. So we've, in terms of procurement, so you can use installation guides. So you can put up a factory now. Although hitherto you will have had the foreigners come to install. So we're using all those kinds of innovation. For our sourcing program, it was pre-designed and it was ready. That was the one we launched in June. So it was a good thing for us that we had that in place. So now we can onboard our suppliers, our service providers, just by them. We have an app, a Dukia Gold app, which they download. And with that, they onboard. We've looked at innovative ways also of profiling because we are committed to OECD guidelines and LBMA because we know that in a couple of years, we must get our own certification. So all our processes are in line with that. So we do all this online. We've profiled over 1,004 miners and other service providers in the industry. We've onboarded them onto our platform using innovation. And so we are also looking at payment. How have we paid for our services? We've also done this online. I haven't been to a banking hall since COVID started. So it's also planning ahead. And of course, the banks are also there to provide us the support that we need, which when everybody has talked about something, collaboration. So it's also, you want to do something, you have partners that are ready to support you in doing this. And price monitoring, all this is done online. Our approval systems online. So branding, we've reached, we keep doing our marketing also online using innovative methods, flyers, phone calls. And so we will say that, yes, COVID is there, but because I wouldn't say we were overly prepared, but at least we had the shock absorber that has allowed us to cope with all the shocks that came. So we know that innovation is required now. It will continue to be required even after COVID pandemic. And mining has taken a completely new turn now. There's so many systems that are there that are more health and safety friendly to that can be deployed. We have all this, and we have people that are ready to support us because we buy raw materials. So we must continue to encourage and enable the participants in the industry, because we realize that if we don't do this, nobody is going to come to help us. And when we start, others can come to join. So I believe that looking at the role of women in all this, we are mothers, and the mining industry is an industry that requires mothering at this time. So seeing a lot of women participants make us glad in Dukia Gold. We have key positions occupied by women right now. So we are, I think we've signed on to respecting women for what they are. I keep saying that when you are born, when you are trained, nobody puts you in a separate class from a man. So really, there's nothing that should stop us from achieving whatever we set out to achieve. And that's a driving force for me. And it's also something that Dukia Gold is fully signed up to. So I don't know, how many more minutes do I have?
Well, you can end it if you're ready
Okay.
to end. Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
we just need to work together. I think we can't say that too many times. Collaboration is key, because if you're ready on your side, the other party is not ready, you will not be able to move forward. And we can do it as women. We can lead the industry. We can also make things happen, because we have the commitment and we have the tenacity to say we want to see something happen. I want to see my child succeed. And I believe that that is what the industry needs. And that is what we have to give also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olabi. So takeaway for me is that Dukia Gold has moved all, if not all, most of its operations online. So procurement is done online, payments are done online, branding is done online. So far, Dukia Gold has onboarded over approximately 104 miners and service providers online. And I'm sorry, 1,004 miners and service providers. And that, again, collaboration is key. I like how we're saying this. We have to keep reminding ourselves collaboration is key. We can't do it alone. Another takeaway is that key positions are held by women. And this is encouraging to hear. It's not all the time that you see this, and it's great to see and hear that Dukia Gold is holding this. Thank you very much, Mr. Olabi.
Thank you.
So, my final panelist, who is not in any way the least, is Miss Hamilton Shine. She is a singer, a songwriter, and an entrepreneur who is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Versa Fisheries Limited. She's also the Chairman Managing Director of Emerton Gold Ventures Limited, and is a woman who has over the years created a niche for herself, home and abroad, in the mining industry. In recent times, she has become an active participant in public service activities, such as setting up a state-of-the-art lapidary, where she has encouraged the training and retraining of local miners in gemstone cutting and polishing businesses, amongst many others. Thank you, Ms. Shang. Over to you. Ms. Shine? So,
sorry, can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Okay, so good afternoon to the organizers of this event. We really appreciate your effort, because without you, obviously, this can't happen. I also want to thank the moderators for this event and my fellow panelists and the distinguished ladies and gentlemen who have taken out time to tune in and listen to us. I wish to start off by saying that a country that can adapt is a country that will survive, and using a positive outlook to view this present situation will be a great starting point. Sometimes change only happens when we are forced by a vast situation to adapt. But let me stress, however, and very clearly that COVID-19 is real, and many have lost their lives and livelihood to this strange and unfortunate virus, and that we are very blessed and privileged to be here right now with hopes and dreams for the future. So with regards to the question at hand, I was presented with some questions which are a little bit different from the generous questions that we've all been answering. So I'm going to start off by reading the points that I've worked on and then respond to it. The first point was, it says, Emotan Global Venture is very active in the gemstone space, and particularly the beautification of gemstones into the final product. Where, in your opinion, does Nigeria currently stand in encouraging local benefication, and what is your view on the impact of this for the international investment market? So I want to start off by saying, fortunately, the new initiative of this present administration to start to create and establish mineral testing centers here in Nigeria is an indication that some of our hard work is beginning to take effect, and that we are now obviously in tune with the government and they are on board with us. I think that we are beginning to understand that understand better as a country in regards, because obviously this sector has been poorly neglected in the past. And we have a long way to go, even though we've started to lay the right foundations at this present time. Okay, so there are a few points that I want to bring in about this first question. The first one being that we shouldn't always focus everything about international investment market. We should start off by building our local markets, which is one of the points that my fellow panelists have already mentioned earlier. The importance of building up the local market is that when we have a thriving local market, we don't even have to make any effort for international investment to come in. They will come and look for us. And then we're then able also to retain our own wealth in here, because at the moment, because we don't have so many local companies adding value to our own natural gemstones and minerals, a lot of it is exported out in very raw form for very little money. And then we have to spend a lot of money to buy it back once it's been processed in other countries. So we're losing a lot of revenue. And then we're also missing out on the taxes that should be paid if we were able to add this value before this product actually left the country. So I think one of the main things that we have to start with is obviously, like we've mentioned in the past, is the testing and being able to understand and identify, first of all, what we have here. And one of my biggest concern has been that we're exporting ores in their raw state. And what this means is that no ore is ever actually just an individual item. Usually an ore is a combination of very important minerals or metal together. So for instance, if we are dealing with gold, usually we would have lead, we would have lead, zinc, tin, and all sorts of other things combined into this one ore. So the first reason why we're losing so much is that we are selling our material as one single item rather than a division, like a combination of all these different things which have their own market. So first of all, by setting and putting in great identification process, we're then able to understand and then being able to teach the value of all the different elements in the economy. So for instance, I've discovered that we also have cobalt in our ores here. And each element has its own value. So we cannot sell lead really simply as a lead ore, because we're losing a lot of money from all the other ores that are present during that sale. So first point is to learn that we should separate the ores before we even start to think of exporting. And if we can, so we encourage the government that it's extremely important to encourage companies like Bosse, Alo, sorry, I don't know you too well, but obviously I've heard a little bit of this Dukia Gold and the initiative and stuff like that. We definitely need refineries in the industry, but not to stop us in the meantime, because we need a lot of huge investment to have big refineries. And so let's first of all start by encouraging the local ways of doing things. Because, let's not forget that we've been mining in Nigeria for centuries. It's not actually just starting. It's just that it's been swept in the background after the British left, but it's been ongoing for over 100 years. And the locals have discovered and have methods of extraction already of certain element. I think if we start to build up on the local method and advancing it, you know, because this is where most countries start off from. We discover our own ways. We shouldn't beat ourselves down so much and think that everything we know is not good enough. We should encourage our own people, our own ways, our own local knowledge, and then look for solutions on how to improve them. So if we have a system, for instance, like she was saying earlier, part of the big concerns here is that the people are not understanding the dangers of substances like mercury, sometimes use their bare hands to do this process because they don't understand that mercury is very toxic. So if you train them and you equip them in the right way and make sure that you've put a protection or a barrier or with maybe some plastic so that this material doesn't seep into the soil, this kind of information can go a long way. And then, so I think the starting point would be to grow our local knowledge. And then as we start to grow our local knowledge on how to extract, then as we build up the economy, we can then have more high-tech, high-scale refineries and so on and so forth. I think that's one of the first place to start. That is with regards to the metal. With regards to the gemstone industry, which is what I'm also involved in because I have two companies. One is focused mostly on the metals, which is the Hamilton Global Ventures, which everybody knows me as. And then we've got Pyramid Ventures Limited, and we focus mostly on gemstones under this company. And so some of the challenges I have faced over, even before I started getting into mining here, it's been already of interest to me. And like I was saying in my other seminar yesterday, I've met some stumbling block along the way of trying to get familiar in the market, which is, for instance, they've also raised questions to me regarding diamond sector and the potential for diamonds in Nigeria. And one of my first remarks regarding this is, first of all, we already have strongly, we have to, first of all, we need to be able to identify the diamonds. We cannot know whether diamonds exist in Nigeria if we don't, first of all, have ways to confirm without any kind of doubt that this is a diamond when it's here. The problem with the local handheld devices that are massively manufactured that most people are able to afford is that usually it sometimes will give you a reading, or it might give you a false reading, or it might all be a bit confusing. And then the only ways to know for sure is to be able to identify the composition of that material. And so using, for instance, similar gadgets to an SRF, but apparently carbon is not part of the elements that SRF machine has been calibrated to test at the moment. If we're able to find a solution to stuff like that, and we are able to start to be able to sort out and separate our white transparent stones. At the moment, a lot of our stones are sometimes, or maybe diamonds are sold off as topaz, and some, sometimes we're selling off white sapphire as topaz and white beryl as topaz, because there is no way for these locals to understand the differences between these kind of material, because they all look very similar to the naked eye who is not trained. So I think education on that level of the locals and teaching them the very basic on how to recognize the slight differences in the stones based on the shape and the form, and then giving them, and then coming up with ideas of how to do what the Chinese did, which is to start to bring in the technological sector and engage our young scientists and say, we need your help in this industry. We want to engage you. We need you to come up with devices that can test for carbon. Here is 2 million as your reward if you can come up and help us with this solution. And then I think we're going to start to see a massive influx of ideas and people using their talent, because I don't have any doubt at all that Nigerians are very capable of coming up with the solutions that we need here without us even having to go up outside to start to worry about finding those solutions outside. We just need to ask, we just need to provide an environment that is friendly and makes it possible for all our great talents to start to flourish. Then another thing we have to also look at is how the effect of branding, you know, and understanding that sometimes just the fact that we haven't packaged it properly just keeps us at a disadvantage. And this is, and the projection of image on the screens, on stuff, it has, you know, an effect on the long-term memory of people on when they are choosing products, because they've seen the products 1 million times on TV. They've been bombarded with the names of the company and the ideas. So when they go out to the shop, they automatically think that these companies are more trustworthy because they've been branding their products properly. So we also need to start to, as a whole, brand our country, our products more efficiently. And with the help of the government and companies like, you know, like the main Sky News, CNN, and those kind of things, of, you know, getting them to focus a little bit more on our local markets and companies to encourage and boost them in a positive light. I think that will also go a long way to help us to move this industry forward and in getting us ahead. And then like another point that I was saying earlier regarding actually encouraging.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. You have so many things to say, and they're all valid.
I've never started yet, so yeah, I can go on and on. Yeah, so so basically, just to round off there, you know, I have so many other points I haven't even touched on, but just to round up, I think we've started on the right path, but we still have a long way to go. And but it's very encouraging at the moment that we're all waking up to the possibilities of this sector.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shine. Thank you. You already answered some of the questions that have even been thrown at you, that would have been thrown at you. So my take is that we should build up the local markets. When we build our local market, then the international market will want us. We don't even need to go look for them. Build it up and they find us. And when we build the local market, also remain in the system. Another is that there's a need to teach artisanal miners how to identify the solid minerals. So they should be able to identify the solid minerals and the stones so that they're not just throwing them aside. We should also teach them about the values of those minerals. Another thing is that the ore is of other precious metals, and we lose a lot when we do not process them here, because when we export the countries or the persons we export them to identify these ores, and they're able to take the value and also gain more from our ores. So if we are able to refine and process our ores here, we're able to keep the resources or funds in the country. Another thing is products should be properly branded. And this is a very, very important point. As good as your product is, if it's not properly branded, nobody would want it. We should also, female miners in general, in fact, women in mining should take branding very important. Women should also be equipped with important tools to keep them. It's not only having health insurance. You have health insurance, but at the same time, you should find a way to, you should also know how to keep yourself safe. So thank you very much, Ms. Shine. So I'd just like to some questions have been asked, and I'd just like to ask them. I'll just ask one question because we're short of time. We plan to end this by 2 o'clock. And the first question is to Hajia Shinkafi. And it's very straightforward, I think. They're congratulating you on PAGMI, and they're asking, will this initiative be extended to other solid minerals in the country? If yes, when should it be expected? If no, why
not? Thank you again, Tosin, for picking me first and last for the questions. The PAGMI is unique because it's tailored towards gold. Each mineral has its own fingerprint and peculiarity. So we can't say one cap will fit all for these type of programs, but the SMDF is creating value across several minerals that we have targeted for various reasons, especially post-COVID. Now, I don't want us to get lost in the artisanal space alone. We're also looking at data generation, geoscientific data generation for small and bigger mine operations. So ASM is 80% of what is happening in Nigeria, and we can't ignore it. But I believe there's an elephant in the room somewhere for bigger mining. I believe there's a Barrick potential, there's an Anglo potential somewhere in the country. And you can't do that with ASM. We must deploy scientific tools and methods to be on the map internationally for mining. So while we are creating programs like PAGMI for gold in particular, because that's a low-hanging fruit, there are other minerals like phosphate, which is for agro minerals for fertilizer production. We're doing mappings in the Sokoto Dengue belt so that we can do fertilizer plants and employ larger numbers. Gold does not employ so many numbers, but for creating jobs, the number of jobs we need to look at industrial minerals. I know gold is sexy, but we need to look at industrial minerals like phosphate, kaolin, things that have immediate industrial use. The irony of the value of gold, it's ornamental. Apart from the bullion bar used in terms of reserves, what else do you do with gold? On the other hand, kaolin, phosphates and agro minerals, limestone that Aliko Dangote is doing as the biggest miner in the country now with cement and employing thousands and thousands of people. That's where my heart is. That's where the jobs are. That's where we can lift more numbers out of poverty. So no, we won't be doing PAGMI replications across other minerals, but we do have plans for data generation that will then lead to production, value addition, and job creation. So I don't foresee us doing a PAGMI program for kaolin, for instance. The other minerals are industrial. We're going for data. We're doing it like everyone did. This is not reinventing the wheel, but we are doing the gold one because it's creating hydra-headed problems. We have social investment in it as well, pollution, and we do want accretion to our foreign reserves. We want it to count on our reserves at the central bank. You can't do that with iron ore. You can't do that with kaolin. You can't do that with phosphate. So each mineral is unique and will have its own tailored solution. That's the reason, that's the why not. And the answer to the first question was no, we're not doing PAGMI for every mineral.
Thank you very much, Hajia.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my next question is to Ms. Barnes, and it's, what opportunities are in place to promote research and innovation in Nigerian mining and West Africa? In fact, let's say West African mining in general. Miss, okay.
Yeah, the mine research in the mining sector is, I think it's a green field, especially research that has actually been done by us West Africans ourselves. There's a lot that needs to be done, but a lot of these things need funding. We've just, Hadia was just talking about the development minerals. That's an area that offers vast opportunities. Look at construction materials. Look at how much tiles Africans are importing onto the continent, and the commodities that were just mentioned, kaolin, limestone, all of that. There's a lot of research that needs to be done so that we can bring our building materials to a level that can cut down our forex costs, our import costs. So the opportunities are there. How do we raise money? I think that it's something that we need to look at it from not just from government, but from industry as well. The industries that are doing that, maybe some incentives can be given to them from the governmental level so that we do more research in all aspects of mining, because the whole of West Africa is a mine. They're everywhere. There's not one West African country that has nothing.
Thank you.
Yes, that'll be my response.
Thanks, Ms. Barnes. And it's almost 4 years since the MOU between SMDF and BOI was signed. How many miners have been able to access the funds? And in particular, how many female miners have been able to access the funds?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you very much. When I saw the question, I just smiled. I said, we're back to the same rhetorical question I'm used to. First and foremost, the MOU was not signed 4 years ago. MOU was precisely signed August 2017. So precisely when, by next month, it will be 3 years. But be that as it may, a lot of things has really happened between then and now. Why? Because as soon as we got the fund from the ministry, there was a lot of advocacy on the part of BOI and the ministry. We had to move around to create an advocacy for people to know that this fund is there, is meant for the artisanal and the small scale miners in Nigeria. So to bring it up to date where we are right now, yes, Bank of Industry, we've done a lot on the fund. Are there room for improvement? Sure, there is. There are a lot of things that needed to be done. But as we speak right now, because of the challenges the miners are having in accessing the fund, especially the artisanal miner, for the small scale, they are okay. They are pretty okay, straightforward. But the crop of the issue, the challenges are on the artisanal miner side. And so far up to date, when we had that issue, we had to come up with a scheme with the fund owner, the ministry. And the scheme was, okay, let's look at gold and use gold as a pilot scheme. So we did that between Osun and Niger State. We disbursed a fund to an aggregator who happens to work in those locations, Osun and Niger State. And between that time and now, she's been able to disburse to 60 artisanal miners in those locations. Okay, and for small scale miner, we've disbursed well over 390 million to small scale miners, and I'm happy to report that the small scale miners, they are all doing very well. Out of the 390 million that we've disbursed to the small scale miners. We have 45% are women, and they are doing very, very well. Is there room for improvement? Sure, there'll be room for improvement, and we're currently negotiating with the fund owner on how to look at those conditions that the miners are claiming are too stringent for them to meet. And it's worthy of note. I mean, inside, I mean, all this issue during even the pandemic, the women miners, I need to give them credit at this point in time. Some of them were working because we're talking to them to find out how they were doing. Is everything working fine? Some of them, we even approached them for palliatives, and they said no. They don't need a palliative. They are okay the way they are. They will continue to service the loan and pay as at when due. So for me, that gives me comfort. That was why I said ab initio that women are really, really doing great. The ones that know what they are doing. And if
Sorry, Miss Mubarak, we can't hear you. Okay, now we can.
Sorry, a call was trying to come in. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay.
So like I said, each one help one. The successful ones, if they can actually collaborate with the ones that are struggling in assessing the funds or in going about the business, I think will really go a long way. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, you did. You did. Thank you, and sorry about the error in the dates. I'm so sorry about that.
No problem. No problem.
Yes, so my next question is to Ms. Olabi, and it's apart from fulfilling the substantial gap in infrastructure required to achieve the full value chain of operations from mines and recyclable gold to mint, as well as from mint to market, does the organization give loans to miners?
Thank you, Tosin.
Yes.
So the answer to that is, in terms of loans, we don't give loans to miners because we are just a local marketplace for precious metals, raw materials, trading. And what we've set out to be is to be the go-to place for miners, for service providers in the industry. And when I say this, so we've looked at the issues in the industry and we've said, okay, so is there a refinery? We've all talked about the benefits of beneficiation, keeping it all within the industry, within the country, such that all stakeholders get the full benefits from this raw material. So we've looked at it. We've looked at the refinery is absent. Smelting plant not available. So all that is happening is about manual processes or semi-manual processes that are being used. As a laboratory, we still do not have a full-blown assay laboratory in country. So you still find out that people are sending samples are prepared in country and then sent out to other continents to go for refining or for assay lab tests. So we've looked at it. Vaulting, who is the vaulting provider, vaulting service provider? We don't have. So everybody keeps in a way that, and just pray to God that nothing happens while they're in custody of it. So a trading platform also is required, such that if you are anywhere in the country, you can still trade. You can put your raw materials up for sale, or you may want to buy. So what we've set out to do is to provide those platforms for participants in the industry. And then we've also looked at it. What is a critical thing that can enhance the operations of the miners. We've looked at equipment, access to equipment. A lot of the people that we've onboarded, that is a recurring thing. They need equipment. So we've had to now go and say, okay, how can we solve this? We've entered into a partnership with Heritage, with financial institutions, but that is led by Heritage Bank. And so with this, people can have access to equipment that they need on a lease basis. Either you want to lease to own, you want to rent on ad hoc basis, or you just want a wet lease. So we will have those kind of facilities in place. We don't give cash, but we give access to all this. We will provide guarantees because we would take whatever they produce from them and from whatever they find, their precious metals, raw materials, they will pay off their lease rentals, or if they're actually acquiring, they are acquired through that. But what that provides to them is the certainty that when they find, there is someone there who is going to offtake. So if we're talking about money, we will be looking at looking at Hajia Shinkafi and Bank of Industry.
Mr. Mubarak.
Yes, they are the ones that have those pockets for us. We're also in the same position. It's something so we've had to travel everywhere looking for funds. So in some places we found money, in some we found equipment, in some we found knowledge, and that's what has taken us to where we are. So in terms of access to those facilities we would provide, we will also guarantee such that they will get the equipment, they will mine. We would encourage them to work as cooperatives, because we also need to be sure that whatever there is a viability of their sites are viable. So it's not just throwing equipment at a site that you're not sure something. So everybody will be expected to have done a kind of study, or if they need assistance with that, we can also refer them in the right direction. So what we provide is the platform for all this to make things happen and to facilitate all these gaps, to bridge the gaps that are existent in the industry.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Olabi. So Honorable Janet Adeyemi would like to just speak for some 2 minutes before I move to my next question. Ma'am, are you available?
Yes, once again, I want to thank Olayinka Mubarak and Mrs. Bose Olabi. I know so much about what is happening in SMDF, so I won't bother her, other than to congratulate her for making women proud. Because if you knew what she went through, the idea is that a woman cannot man the place. She's not capable. She's this, she's that you delivered again on behalf of women. We want to say congratulations. However, I would like Mrs. Olayinka Mubarak, because I saw some questions and it would be unfair if we walk away from this place without raising it. It would be good if you give us the aggregators. And I want to appeal to those women in positions. Use your position to better the lot of women. That is why you have associations. That is why you have groups. You understand, where the information can really disseminate. Because if not, at the end of the day, you have scattered information. Quite a number of professionals will not even know what is happening. So because if you look at the question, somebody is asking you, can you give the name of the aggregator so that we can link up with them? Of course, Mrs. Olabi, will come to you. Then on the Women in Mining platform, for instance, and the AAN, I want you to know that you have quite a number of professionals, and it is equally important to really refer to what they do. Professionals in the industry, by virtue of COVID, whether in private or public sectors, life has changed completely. And that life is talking about there's no longer where you work or I'm going to work. I'm sure over time, as we see, that would be one of the consequences of COVID-19. It will be a question of productivity. And I can see, because your seniority or your whatever, as women, to take that away from this place and go and develop our innovative skills in the use of IT, to make sure we are IT savvy. Because when you are IT savvy, your bosses are going to be calling on you to do this, and before you know it, because your productivity is enhanced, nobody will be looking at, so she came to service in 1901 and she's on level this. So again, I think that should be encouraged. And like, again, I want to equally still emphasize that irrespective of where you find yourself, make it a point of duty to help women out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
So because we have 10 more minutes, I want to inform participants that what we would do is we would answer the questions, and since we have your email, we would send answers to your questions via email. We'll just aggregate all the questions. I would answer them and we'll send it to you via email. So thank you very much. I have one other question for Ms. Olabi, and it's just, I think it's straightforward. It's how many states have the Dukia Gold accredited centers, and if it's not ready, when will the refinery be fully operational?
Okay, so as I mentioned before, we're working with Heritage Bank and other banks. So if you ask me how many states, it would be all states where you have Heritage Bank, because we have an arrangement that allows them to act on our behalf. But in terms of our launch states, where we would have our full buying centers, we have the FCT, we have Lagos, Kebbi, Zamfara, Osun, and Kano states. So these are the places where we are the full buying centers are located at designated Heritage Bank branches. And then in terms of the refinery, we are doing this in models. So as I speak, some bits of looking at the assay lab, the smelter, and the other testing parts of it, their equipments have been procured for those. We are going to commence full operations on 1st of August. And in terms of the full implementation of it, we've had delays. We were looking at sometime before the end of this year initially, but we've had to push it to June next year. But that does not mean we won't start operations with whatever. As I said, it will be done in phases. So we will continue to push till everything is completely implemented.
Thank you, ma'am. So one last question for anyone who is able to help and answer, and it's just what structures have been put in place to slow down the effects of mining on the environment? Or what structure should be put in place?
Yeah, let me take that answer, because the SDG project in Nigeria signed and we are part of it. Right now, you have what you call mining into sustainability. So they are producing an atlas. And then incidentally, I'm sure Ministry of, I don't know, maybe they're online. Women in Mining is equally talking to them. The ministry is talking to them. Then the new policy, I don't know, maybe Amanda is equally on the line. You'll find out that there's a whole lot of activity going on from the national planning preparing for the 2021-2025 rolling plan, 2025 to 2030, 2030 to 2050. And all these factors have been accommodated into it, aside from the normal policy of the ministry that talks about environmental impact assessment, you understand, where they look at you have to come up with your environmental impact assessment profile before and after. So I believe that all those things in place, if we learn to obey and follow those things they want to do to the letter, it will take care of the environmental situation of mining. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And we're grateful to everyone. Unfortunately, because of time, I can't have my panelists. Oh, let me do it. Can panelists just speak 1 minute to round off, just final thoughts? And I'll start again with Hajia Fatima Shinkafi. Thank you.
Tosin, I love you too. I'll be sure to put you first on my next webinar for women. This has been a wonderful experience. I've learned a lot, cross-fertilization of ideas. I think COVID has brought some positives. These webinars are actually easier to attend collectively wherever you are than moving people from different locations. And I think it's a fertile ground for exchanging ideas and proposing solutions. I think the juxtaposition of the isolation we're just coming out from, absolute loneliness, and then this togetherness on a screen is heartwarming, and it makes you feel as one again in terms of humanity. So that's moving away from all our mining technical jargon. On the side of SMDF, we're here for everyone. We're looking at solutions. We've had McKinsey restructure the fund for the last year. We have the highest political will. We've never had this type of support at the fund, and we have the highest political will to move things and support people like Dukia, Kian Smith, be it with credit guarantees or financial risk de-risking of the projects that they're doing. So I'm looking forward to the next gathering that we will have like this. And I'm so pleased that COVID is not stopping the proliferation of ideas and projects from moving forward. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you very much, Hajia Shinkafi. Thank you for indulging me. So, second is Olayinka Mubarak. 1 minute, closing thoughts.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be part of the panelists on this webinar, and it's really a pleasure to be here. And on the parting note, I would like to take some of the few, maybe 1 or 2 questions I saw from the Q&A section. So can I, or I don't have the time?
No, because we need to end by 2. I'm so sorry. But what we'll do is we'll send you the mail. We'll send you a mail so you can just answer them.
Okay, no problem. So my parting shot will be more on the ESG, environmental sustainability and corporate governance. Like Madam rightly said, ESG is the new buzzword. We can't run away from it. And good thing before you get your mining license, you have to do an EIA, environmental impact assessment. So we unconsciously or unconsciously, we've been doing that in Nigeria. You understand, taking back. But right now, we need to be very focused on our environment. Okay, how am I going to plan my mine? What did I meet on ground? How am I going to close my mine? And like she rightly said, responsible sourcing. If you don't go this route of ESG, nobody's gonna take your whatever ore or material you want to export, because outside the country in the advanced climate, they take ESG as a very, very serious thing. So I implore our female miners and all our miners in Nigeria that ESG is the next thing. Sustainability is very, very critical for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mubarak. Shortly, we're expecting the permanent secretary to also come deliver his remarks. If he comes before the end of the session, good. Otherwise, he sends his remarks, but we'll hold on for him. So next is Ms. Barnes.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here. And I just want to say that one of the best ways to make sure that we respect the environment is to actually do proper exploration, aggressive exploration. And some of the exploration projects I've been involved in, sometimes it takes up to 10 years, but it's always worth it, because once you do the exploration and you get your resource model, you know exactly what you are mining, you can raise the funds for it, and you would mine it properly. And after your exploration and all the reclamation is done, then we respect the environment. And so, yes, I would encourage that we start doing aggressive, proper exploration with, our marking, sampling, and drilling, and doing all the geochemical tests, just to make sure that we are not just excavating everywhere. It's targeted and it's using green mining methods. And I think that's the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barnes. And so our panelists and participants, please permit me to take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. We will strive for 2:05 and we're done. So next is Ms. Owolabi.
Okay. I would just like to say that thanks. I would like to thank the organizers, and then to confirm also that the Dukia project has the rural and the urban mining aspects. So for the urban, we're in the 36 states of the Federation, and we're proud of the what Hajia Shinkafi is doing, the SMDF, the PAGMI project is very close to our hearts. We'll continue to strive to work together, and we look forward to doing that. And Dukia Gold and Precious Metals Refinery is committed to developing the precious metals refinery plant and other critical national infrastructure that will support responsible gold sourcing. And we invite participants, holders of small-scale mining leases, to contact us, and we would always be ready to work together with them. And then that women, to note that we can make a huge impact if we stay focused, and that it may take a while, but whatever we set out to do, we can achieve jointly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. And final, but again, not the least, Ms. Shine.
Hi, okay, so I would like to end my, my talk, my addition to this. Value addition prior to exporting opens us up to a wider market. This way, we're able to sell both the raw materials, and will also put us in a better pedestal to sell our materials at the global price, thereby getting the real value for our distinct minerals as opposed to selling them in their lump raw form. Consequently, the profit margin, this will increase the profit margin and revenue for the government to take in for the country. So ultimately, beautification brings massive benefit to the country, such as employment creation for in all enterprises, because it opens not only the flying to Nigeria to buy our stones, it affects the hospitality and so many other sectors, science. So we can't really underestimate just how important growing one sector is. And and the chain reaction it's going to have on the whole, on all the other sectors for the country. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you to all our panelists. The Permanent Secretary's rep is here, Mr. Patrick, and I will just try, and unfortunately, because for some reason he's unable to join us on the screen, but I'll see if I can just get him to speak. Mr. Patrick?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, I got an invitation to be on this webinar, and the Permanent Secretary requested me to stand in for him too. In that two capacity, I've been sitting down here listening to the women for talking all the hours, and I've been on the admin neck to link me. But you were lucky that you got me, otherwise in anger I was going to shut down.
Wow.
In any case,
sorry.
I want to start by saying that I'm very, very excited for today. Excited in the sense that key players, the women key players in the sector are speaking. The ministry has put up so much effort to encourage women in mining. And I have particularly taken it all this stride as a personal advocacy program. Honorable Janet can bet me out there. Year in, year out, I've been standing strongly on behalf of women in mining. My capacity as the director in charge of ASM equally placed me in the position to drive the gender mainstreaming in the sector. The presentations of the SMDF, Mubarak, and some of the key players there. I am so excited with the revelations that have come out. I have taken it upon myself to challenge the male miners and to assess the financial window that have been packaged in BOI. They are grumbling and the women folk are marching forward. Just last week here, Ajia Awa, popularly known as Ajia Gemstone, received the delivery of a multiple excavator through the BOI form. I am very, very, very happy that the lady folks have picked up these gauntlets to challenge the men. There are many opportunities in the sector. It's not just purely on the upstream. There are a lot of opportunities that are the downstream. And attentions have been specifically focused on women to be able to direct their participation and investment into the sector. I heard one of the presenters talking about the exportation of rum of mine, which is a minor to this country, the minor to the resources we have. I give you a typical example. A Chinese man is crazy to go away with rum for a less zinc ore, but you can vouch that the less zinc ore contains, some of them contains gold that they extract free of charge. And the focus of government now is downstream development, value addition. It mustn't be only gold. Companies, individuals have picked up licenses to refine gold in the country. And of course, one of the trailblazer has been Kian Smith. And now again, we have the Dokia. And I can see it. I've been interfacing with Dokia all along with the elderly man and not the lady. I have been to a motor stand, and I'm so excited that I keep presenting her to women who come complaining to me of their inability to invest. You are picking up, and I say, I encourage the lady folk to drive on. My sister Ajia the ES of SMDF, have had this passion that I knew passed from 2015. She has the passion and she is keeping the flag flying. She needs all of you behind her. You should not be deterred by any policy or obstruction. Women in other clients who are into the sector and are doing well globally never got deterred. I was in Australia at a workshop and I attended Women in Mining Conference organized there, and the lady was narrating her life story. Even as a married woman and as a pregnant woman and as a white lady, she was being marginalized where she was trading her expertise, but she could never got deterred. Today, she is a leading woman investor in the mines worldwide. I've forgotten her name. I will get it and send it to you sometime. So the lady folk, I encourage you to keep the strike. The ministry is ever ready and available to give you all the support. We have to work in collaboration and to see how we take the sector to the next level. On this note, I'll say congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajeka, and I sincerely apologize for missing you. And on this note, I'd like to welcome Ms. Oluwayemisi Mercy Abdullahi, the President, Australian Association Alumni of Nigeria, to close today's webinar. She has a double honors degree education in English from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and she also has a master's degree education from Curtin University, Perth. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. My pleasure to be giving the closing remark. When Fati told me I will be giving closing remark, what I told her is that I'm gradually becoming a specialist in giving closing remarks. I don't know, but I think she responded. She said, because you're good at it. I said, okay, this is something that it is special, it is professional. So I might not be able to say much about mining, but with the little I've been able to catch today, I must say kudos and thanks to everyone. My closing remark will go like this. Sorry, let me add, I prefer my video to be off because of the network issues too. Ms. Claire Ireland, the High Commissioner to Nigeria, thank you so much for your genuity. You're the first female High Commissioner to Nigeria. And I must say we are very, very happy and glad to have you here because you have shown to us that indeed we are blessed to be women. And I'm very sure that you're being on board now. I'm so confident of you that there's going to be a closely knitted bilateral relationship on mines between Nigeria and Australia. That I am saying confidently. I also want to say thank you to the Honorable Minister in absentia, Architect Adegbite Olamilekan. Thank you for sending me that video. That really, really made my day because I was thinking as a minister, you say you don't have the time and that is it. But we are glad that you thought it wise to send us that video. We are so grateful. Not forgetting the DG Mining Cadastral, Engineer Simon Income. Thank you for your relevant goodwill message. And for also reminding us the importance of mining as playing a great role in governance. Indeed, we are blessed among women. That is your word. Thank you so much. Judge Burns, thank you for your visionary inspiration to the causes of women in the mining sector. Thank you for being here all the way from Ghana. We are so grateful. To our great panelists, I'm sure even those of us that we are novice concerning mining, hearing you is enough for us to have learned one or two things. Ajia Fatima Shinkafi, we are so grateful. Olayinka Mubarak, your advocacy for collaborative work for women, will keep to it. George Burns, your encouragement for innovation to advocate that women produce should be given first choice slot in any market. That is really awesome. And I'm sure that women were going to push to it. Then Dukia Gold, thanks for empowering women in your place, Mrs. Bosse Owolabi. So grateful. Emoton Shine, adaptation will lead to survival, so you said. And our local market should be built up and not beat ourselves up unnecessarily. That is a very good insight for women and encouragement for women. But don't worry, I'll come to your place. I'll come and take gold for free of charge, if I'm allowed. Then not forgetting the representative of the permanent secretary, that's Engineer Ojega. We wouldn't have left here if you didn't give him that chance. Oluwatosi, thank you that you allowed him. Then I won't forget my sister, Honorable Janet Adeyemi, the president, Women in Nigeria. So grateful for the collaboration you are having with AAN. We are grateful, and we know that this is just the beginning. We're going to go places together. Our collaborative work will pay off eventually, I am so sure. Then I cannot forget the participants, because without you, just being here would have amounted to nothing. And I'm sure and I'm so grateful for the feedback that we've gotten, that we actually impacted into every participant's life in this just 120 minutes, or 120 is now 135 minutes. We are so grateful, and we are sorry for keeping you beyond the stipulated time. Thank you so much, and we hope when next to call you, you'll be there. Bye, everyone.